I see the words OG is in the title, SEO purposes. You know, it's very looking very OG-ish right now. OG Wrestling Wrealm.
Well, you know what? Usually this is the part where I get on here and I try to pull a fast one. But I'm not gonna lie to you, Brian H.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of pissed right now.
Oh,
ask me why I'm pissed. Please ask me. Please ask me why I'm pissed. Please do.
Why are you pissed?
Okay. I'm glad you asked me, Brian H. It's because every freaking week we sit here on this goddamn show, and for almost 13 years plus, I really thought I had professional wrestling figured out. But apparently I do not. Triple H and his little creative cronies are throwing wrenches and chairs and all kinds of stuff in my direction, and it's throwing me off my game. I don't feel like I'm the wrestling fan like I used to be.
Ooh,
you feel me? So that's why we have to come together tonight, is because we got to have some type of conversation about what the heck is going on. Of course, the red light is on, and we are back for another edition of the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast this week. And we have a lot to get to, because guess what? Tonight's main event of the show is all about Seth freaking Rollins and the Bloodline, because he has no choice but to join the original Bloodline, whether he likes it or not. Brian H. I got a bone to pick with Triple H, and we got to get this figured out. He's throwing swerves at me that I didn't figure out. And what? And another thing, God dang it, Sami Zayn, I don't trust you. Let's go.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!
Let it marinate. Let it marinate. Let it marinate. Welcome to the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, I am your host, the big dog himself, not to be confused with Roman Reigns and his OG bloodline, but the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen, in the building tonight. And he is your host, conspicuous by his actions. Brother Hugh has the third, A to the A to the S, T to the H to the D, 3 to the R to the D, is not in the building tonight, and he is your host, not just any guy, but the Belt King, Brandon the guy who might be joining us later. We're going to find out. And he is your host, the heart and soul of the brand, the creator, the curator of the Wrestling Wrealm, Mr. Steal Your Show, still Hollywood. Brian H. Waters in the building. Good brother, what is cracking? We are back for another freaking week of the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast. And if you can't tell by my tone, I'm a tad bit perturbed. Can you dig it? Can you hear it in my words, Brian H?
Hey, well, I said OG in the building, and let's guess what that means. Our OG good brother Matt Reichel is in the chat, and he just said that intro is fire, man. You know, Matt, all the way back to the ROH days and down at the Du Burns Arena, now named the Coppermine. And guess what? Yesterday on Ring of Wrestling Worldwide, we was talking about the we did a draft all the November birthdays, right? And we was looking at the names and people, and we talked about people who didn't get picked. And guess who came up? Jushin Thunder Liger, which means, you know who also came up? The guy who cosplayed as Jushin Thunder Liger. And it took me back to those days. I said, oh yeah, the homie Just Liger on I think that's his name, Just Liger on Twitter. But you know, it took me back.
He didn't go by Thunder Liger?
No, might be Thunder Liger.
Listen, I'm asking. Don't let me give you the wrong information.
It just like that, man. It took me back, man. A lot of OG-ness in here tonight.
No, listen, it's fun to go back in time every once in a while. And trust me, anytime you bring up Ring of Honor at Du Burns Arena and Just Liger, trust me, it's something. It's one of the things. What do they say? You had to be there.
You had to be there.
And there's a lot of throwback going on tonight. It's because every Tuesday at 8 p.m. there's a little show, right? That has been a part of the Wrestling Wrealm brand for just a short time now, but the impact is monumental. known as championship culture, created and curated by Brandon, the Guy, the Belt King, and super producer Has the Third. And their show this past Tuesday had something to do with an OG title, something that we kind of grew up on, and something that gave us many memories and all those types of things. So if you can't tell what time it is, you know that once you hear this next sound, we're about to get into just a little bit of championship culture with or without Brother Guy, Brother Hugh. So let's get it. Championship Culture, the latest show to the wrestling realm. Once again, like I said, every Tuesday to 8 p.m., the Championship Culture goes full-fledged into everything championship culture related, I guess, right? And this week was no different than any other. But as season 3 has gone underway, can you imagine what this particular show had to have been about? There's a lot of OG-ness in the building, right? And just as things are new, it seems like they're old. But what old is new, what's new is old. But we got to decipher the between the two. So can you take one guess about what this Tuesday show was all about, Brian H? Something happened. Let me just throw a hint out there for those who are listening. Something happened this week. Triple H showed up somewhere with a certain hip-hop megastar, and he made a very, very kind gesture. It has a lot to do with what this Tuesday show was all about. Brian H, you want to take a guess? I mean, I kind of dropped it off for you. With D Wade and LeBron James, a lot of times just throw it up and just one of us dunks it. So you want to take a stab at what this Tuesday show was all about for championship culture?
The Hardcore Championship.
That is absolutely correct. What in the world? Now this is what I'm talking about, Brian. This is why I started the show so peeved, right? This is why I was pissed off. This is why I was so like, yo, I used to be good at this. I can't speak for you. I'm not going to say we, but I used to be good at this, right? And I feel like I'm losing my touch, Brian H. And you gotta help me get back to this space, because I feel like I'm losing my mind as a professional wrestling fan. It's because I used to be able to figure these things out, and I'm struggling right now. But this Tuesday on Championship Culture, they decided to highlight the Hardcore Championship. It is entitled Hardcore Reborn. If you want to catch this episode, go to youtube.com/the Wrestling Wrealm playlist Championship Culture. Now, Triple H shows up at Travis Scott's concert, right? And he has a very decorated looking modern version of the Hardcore Championship. And the brothers decided to take a deeper dive into the history of the Hardcore Championship, its title, the associations, and all the things that were naturally associated with the Hardcore Championship throughout its history and how it could potentially play into today. Brian H., what are your earliest memories, first and foremost, of the Hardcore Championship?
You know what? Let me take you back to something I don't know if I ever talked about on here before, any platform, but I remember when the belt first came out. There used to be a wrestling talk show in Baltimore, in the Baltimore area, called Wrestle Talk America with the Devious Doc. And they would have...
You're really taking it back. We should have played like an OG theme tonight.
I wish I knew it. They would have wrestlers on there. And they had Mick Foley on there one time. And the one thing he talked about was when he lost the title to the Big Boss Man, how he thought it was a gift. He didn't think he could ever lose that title. He thought it was like, okay, we present this to you and you're going to have it. So that's like some of my earliest memories. Just him, being presented the belt. Obviously, Boss Man and Road Dogg, and like at one point going into WrestleMania 15, I always remember Billy Gunn chasing the Intercontinental title and Road Dogg chasing the Hardcore title. Well, Road Dogg coming up short, but would win the Intercontinental title. And I was like, wait a minute, they switched. It wasn't supposed to be that way. So that's some of my earliest memories.
Now, when you mention some of your earliest memories, I have a love-hate relationship when it comes to this particular championship, right? I feel one way about it because of how it looks, but then I feel another way about it by all the great moments that it gave us. Look, Brother Guy, he heard the championship culture cry, and he came running in. It's like if we had like a championship culture bat signal. It went into the sky, and here he comes, the live band, the sax man, in the building tonight. You just made it, buddy. We just started, and you're here just in time because we just introduced this Tuesday's episode of Championship Culture, and Brian Nace just gave a very wonderful soliloquy about his first impressions of the Hardcore Championship and a few of his memories. And I'm about to give a few of mine. But with that being said, you know me, I'm a little bit extra. I just can't tell you what I thought about it. I just can't tell you how I feel about it. I had to take some notes. So in case you don't know what time it is, let me say it in a few words. I've got notes.
Here we go.
Here it is, Brian H. That was a little bit extra.
All the extras. Then you had to add that in.
I had to. See, I was younger then, and I was more extra then. So I'm like you said, I'm feeling OG about it. So I'm trying to go back a few years, right? I'm trying to keep my thunder. So, with that being said, since we're talking about a classic championship like the Hardcore Championship, brother guy, I've got notes.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go. I have a love-hate relationship with the Hardcore Championship because, like you said, Brian H., the Hardcore Championship was introduced as almost like a gift. Now, we've had this debate on this show about how do we feel about belts being personalized trophies. We talked about the Hardcore Championship in a way when it first started out. We talked about the $1 million title. We talked about what's another trophy championship like the
Legends Championship, TNA Legends Championship was awarded.
The Legends Championship was supposed to be just something that Booker T had, or the greatest Royal Rumble Championship. These are belts as trophies, and the Hardcore Championship to me was supposed to be that. For one, let me not rush. Let me get through my notes. It's right here. First and foremost, I felt some type of way about it. Is because it took my favorite championship of all time, the Winged Eagle. That was my favorite WWE championship of all time, and it desecrated it. It had masking tape on it. It was discolored. It was teal looking. It was just, and they gave it to Mick Foley as this is when Mick Foley, was McMahon had made up his mind that he was going to treat Mick Foley like a son, and Mick Foley and Vince McMahon had this relationship they were building. And he gives him this Hardcore Championship, and I'm like, why did he give him this belt? And first of all, why did they desecrate my favorite championship? Now, one of the questions you guys always ask is, who is the most recognizable Hardcore champion and why? And it was a complete conversation about it. And if you want to check out that complete conversation, head over to WrestlingWrealm.com. YouTube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm, playlist Championship Culture, and watch that episode so you can get the full conversation. But this is just my tidbits based off my notes. To me, the most recognizable champion will always be Mick Foley because of how it originated. Now, you talk about the moments and where we can go with it. I mean, that's a whole different conversation. But from where I stand right now, it's always going to be Mick Foley because it started with him, and he is the hardcore legend. Of course, we had these, Boss Man and, the chase with Crash Holly in the ball pit and all that kind of stuff at the airports. All the fun moments that we had with the Hardcore Championship. But Mick Foley is the person I associate with that. He's the reason we have it. He is the reason why it kind of came into fruition. The Hardcore Championship gave us very entertaining segments, right? We talk about sports entertainment, right, good brothers? And we talk about how everybody is not on the card to have a 5-star match. Everybody's not on the card to be a world champion, but everybody is there to play a part. I think modern day wrestling, AEW, don't always realize, listen, it's not about everybody being champion. Not everybody's going to make PWI 500, but everybody can play their part where they are and do some spectacular things that have very memorable moments. You think about Crash Holly's legacy, by Hardcore Holly's legacy, Boss Man's second run. You know what I mean? It's all attached to this Hardcore Championship, and then all the fun things that we had with, the 24/7 rule, where you had Pat Patterson and you had some of the Godfather's hoes, and it's all these outrageous moments where it took us back to like Batman in the 60s, where we had all these campy moments, but it was fun. It made great for television, and we got that with the Hardcore Championship. It made it fun. I never liked that belt being defended as a serious title. I never did. I hated when freaking Billy Gunn won that championship, and I was like, well, he should be Intercontinental Champion, and Road Dogg should be Hardcore Champion. Like, they should switch. And one time they were like walking up the ramp one day, and they were like, "You want to switch? You want to switch?"
Right.
I was like, can you do that? They should do it because that's the way it's supposed to be.
It felt that's the direction they were going. You see the vibes.
I mean, they sold it to us, Brian H. That's what the heck I was going with. And I feel deceived because I was younger and I didn't put two and two together. I didn't know how the business worked at that point in time. I would eventually, but I didn't know then. So that's how I always felt about the Hardcore Championship. But it popped up recently. And first of all, it looks good based off this new modern take on it. I was like, okay, I like it as a novelty, but I'm not sure it would work as an actual championship in today's environment. Not to say that it can't work, is because the concept has proven to work because we had the 24/7 championship, which was supposed to be probably like a distant relative of the hardcore championship, a similar concept, but it had no character to it, right? It had no fun to it. It had no entertainment. It was just a green belt. It was yellow. It was ugly. And but shout out to R-Truth and Dana Brooke and all those people that took that championship serious enough and made those segments really worth it, which I can appreciate. Now, can it survive in today's atmosphere? I believe it's done right, but like I said, I'm all for nostalgia, but I'd rather it be exactly what it is, just nostalgia. Let's enjoy what it is, sell it on WWE Shop, make a few dollars. But yeah, that's if you want to hear more about the the hardcore championship, its lineage, and so many other things that are associated with it. Like I said, go back and watch this episode of Championship Culture and catch season 1, season 2, and all the other episodes to come into season 3. Once again on youtube.com/the Wrestling Wrealm. And there you have it. Here it goes. Yippee! See, that's the thing. So yeah. Now we've gotten through that part. This is the part of the show. But brother guy, you missed my angry rant when I first got on. You have to go back and watch it because I was angry. I started off hot. I'm cooling down.
Why were you angry?
Well, because I'm pissed off is because I used to be good at this. I used to be able to figure things out. I used to have a handle on these things. I used to be able to predict things and be somewhat on the right path. And now Triple H and his cronies of creators have thrown me off. Is because
and that's exactly what me and brother he was talking about earlier today. That you can't predict it.
And you know what's going? Guess what, brother guy? That's exactly what the heck we're going to talk about tonight. Because last week we had an entire show talking about who's going to be the fifth man for War Games, and it's clear who the fifth man on one side is, and we are going to discuss exactly why Seth Rollins. We're not even sugarcoating anything. Seth Rollins has no goddamn choice. He has to join the OG Bloodline, which is our main event tonight. But we cannot jump the gun before we get into all that wrestling goodness. We have to take care of a little bit of business, right? Because every week we do a special segment on here where we break into the show. It is called What Did You Watch? Where the brothers discuss what they watched this week to get their minds and their hearts prepared for the Wrestling Wrealm Now podcast that we do here every Wednesday. So, good brothers, I have a question for you. What did you watch? Sponsored by our good friends at SeatGeek. If you're looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use our promo code Wrestling Wrealm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Wrealm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more. Good brothers, what did you watch? Who wants to go first? What did you guys watch this week?
Well,
I give you.
Survivor Series season. So
this is one of your rabbit holes, Brian H. You have WrestleManias, but you have Royal Rumbles, and you got Survivor Series. It's nothing like holiday wrestling.
But this is the hardest one to go down, to be honest with you.
No, why is that?
It's just because it's not the biggest rewatchable. Right now I actually threw on last year's because I don't think I ever went back and watched the entire show. And watching the pre-show as it came on, I was like, "Whoa!" I got cold again because that was a cold night. Also seeing some unwanted people that night, but that's we talked about that. But
what unwanted people did you not want to see?
But I went back and watched the 92 Survivor Series.
Okay.
Because we remember our first heel turns. Like, for me it was the first one I remember, Shawn Michaels, the barbershop scene, right?
Okay, sure.
But I remember the first babyface turn was Mr. Perfect on primetime television.
Oh wow.
When Macho Man,
You're showing your age.
Well, you remember, we would learn later that it was because Macho Man, because Ultimate Warrior was fired, but it was supposed to be him and Savage versus Razor Ramon and Ric Flair, and there was this whole like don't trust thing, kind of what we saw with like Roman and Jey Uso after Crown Jewel, or going in like during the match, that those kind of subtle things. So
True.
That's what I saw. Watching that match again. With Macho Man and Mr. Perfect, they would win. And I know some people, experts or whatever, don't look too fondly on the match. But that's like I believe that was the first WWE pay-per-view my parents had actually ordered for me. And it was Thanksgiving Eve and we were watching. So that was what I watched.
Okay. I'm gonna make a comment about Survivor Series, but I'm gonna let Brother Guy go first to let the people know, what did you watch this week, sir?
I'll give you a hint. What do you think I watched this week, Realness?
Something with the Hardcore Championship or something with Triple H in it.
Well, it was definitely the Hardcore Championship. And as you know, as we talk about Hardcore Reborn, which I'm going to have to go back and watch the beginning, because I don't know if you saw the Easter hit egg that Brother Hugh put in the show graphic. And
so now I got to go back and watch it. I didn't.
No, it's in the graphic. It's in the cover. But I went back and it took me back to a time in WWE, and it's like whenever we do these shows, we always have to remember what the time frame was. And I just remember that, being chaotic but fun at the same time. Having, these moments in the hardcore title. And I went back and watched WrestleMania from 2000, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you remember that. First off, it was weird because it was 13-man battle royal for this title. And it was crazy because Crash Holly started as the champion and he still walked out with the champion, even though we had all these other champions in between. And it was like everybody in the match, it seemed like, became hardcore champion. But it was just the thrill of the story of how could they keep it. It made them be creative during that time. And it was crazy to go back and watch it because now as I've done, I'm like, this was really crazy, but it was really entertaining. And even going back and watching this, and even watching the Steve Blackman and Shane McMahon match. I was watching it with the odds of waiting for that one spot. But I still watched, it was like, Steve Blackman really was dangerous. Like, this is kind of creepy. Like, I didn't realize some of these things that was happening. Of course, being younger, watching it through an adult eyes, it not only stands up, but it means a little bit more now. So I went down a hardcore rabbit hole, and I got a new appreciation for, as we like to say in championship culture, the other belt. So that's what I watched.
What is with you guys? What do you guys have against Extreme? Because why are you calling it the other belt? Brian H neglected his very first championship, ladies and gentlemen, was the ECW commemorative Big Silver Phoenix. It doesn't matter. You still paid for it. That was your first.
That was a Brian H. Waters belt.
He neglected. That's the Brian H. edition. He neglected it, and then here you go calling the Hardcore Championship the other belt. You guys have a problem with Extreme, but it's okay.
No, I don't have a problem with Extreme. So Realness, you haven't paid attention to championship culture. We have like the world titles, the secondary titles, and then the other belt. The other belt is that category that we kind of put those belts in that we really can't classify them as the secondary title because it's always got to be a different belt, like the digital media, the television championship, when there's a clearly defined secondary title. So that's why I say it falls into that other belt category.
Okay. That's fair.
So,
okay.
You're not that it's off to the side.
No, you're right. We have had that conversation before. In all fairness, you have to excuse me. I'm fired up. Triple H has got me pissed off. We're gonna get into it.
Oh, don't worry. I got some. Yep.
But it's just I don't. Well, I'm glad you.
I'm not discrediting the belt. I'm just saying it was.
No. I don't.
I was an Intercontinental title fan, but then we also had the European title. But this hardcore title at moment was just as good for a different reason.
True.
And that's what I realized now going back and watching some of this. I was like, because I was blinded to the Intercontinental title. That was my, but it was like the hardcore match were on, but now looking at some, I was like, oh, okay.
The best thing about that hardcore championship match was they put it in the Superior Wrestling video game that came out that year.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, SmackDown 2 Know Your Role.
Yeah, for PlayStation, because the most supreme professional wrestling game is WWF No Mercy for Nintendo 64. So
Wait,
yeah,
was that match on the game? Because I don't know.
it was. But see, if you had a childhood and you enjoyed it, you would have known. Poor Brian was caught in wrestling. He didn't understand how great playing No Mercy with 4 people and hard. Think about it, you could play backstage.
You could
I
do
have a
that
video.
on
I have a video on my
SmackDown.
phone. No, okay, but here,
And
do
then
you
we had a
guys?
multiplayer adapter.
Can I ask you a question? Do they have an instant replay at the end of the match if you do a good finish? No,
Yeah,
you don't.
yeah, they
No,
do.
no.
Yeah, they
Are you
do.
sure?
Yeah,
So
I
after
do
every
remember that.
match, okay. So after every match, after there's a pin, they do the instant replay.
Now, depends, but they don't have. Well, No Mercy had like after the move. They don't have right after the move.
Okay. Well, for whatever you did however you did your 1, 2, 3 on No Mercy after every match, they give an instant replay. So what we would do was, I'm taking you back, and this is something that I hope that we can carry over to Twitch at some point. You could I have a video at my phone of one of my finishes that I recently played. It's literally X-Pac against like I think it's like Bradshaw and a hardcore champion, and and backstage it was a hallway, and then there was multiple rooms in the hallway,
Okay.
and you could take your wrestler and throw them into different rooms. I don't think you can do that on PlayStation. Let me finish my story. So
Well, you know what? No, real quick.
yeah, sure.
I brought that up. It was a reason, method to the madness, because you may know that last week was the anniversary of No Mercy, November 14th.
Would you look at that? It's timely. The anniversary of No Mercy, and too bad you couldn't celebrate that anniversary the way you probably should have.
Well, you know what? That's also my grandfather's birthday. So if he would have been, alive in 1999.
Listen to me.
The type of grandfather he was, he would have bought me the game for his birthday.
I knew your grandfather was special, but I didn't realize how special until this moment. Your grandfather shares the same birthday as the greatest video game ever created of all time. It's amazing.
And speaking, I forgot. He did want me to tell you about what he watched too. When you're ready, realness.
Sure, but let me finish throwing this in Brian H's face because I don't know why he thinks SmackDown No You're so superior. But anyway,
it's a beautiful game and it had the real music. I'm just
cool.
saying,
you keep throwing that in faces.
But that's
the one
CD.
thing. That's the one thing you guys could do is put music on it. But you know what you couldn't do? You couldn't do an X Factor on top of a billiard table in the table breaking. You cover Bradshaw for 1, 2, 3. And if you don't believe me, I got the video recorded on my phone and I'm uploaded next week as a follow-up. See, you couldn't do that. So I hope you enjoyed your music. Okay, well, there you go. We'll do it in YouTube shorts. There you are. So I hope you enjoyed your music because I enjoyed my finishes and my replays. But
just go viral.
That's just what it is. We're trying. So what did I watch this week, good brothers? Ah, boy, man. I was feeling a little bit extreme. I don't know why I was on such an ECW kick. I think because of the recent NXT show that happened. And I've been celebrating, a lot of the ECW legends who are now, they finally feel like they're being respected for the contribution. So, it wasn't as juicy and as good as you guys going back what you watched this week. But, it was enough to get me in the right mindset, not realizing that Triple H was even going to come out with the Hardcore Championship and all these other things, and that there's rumors flying and all that stuff going on. But, brother guy, tell us what Brother Hugh happened to watch this week.
So I recommended a match for him, and I know he watched it because he said, "Oh man, he watched Eddie Guerrero versus Six,
the ladder match
U.S. title,
NWA sold out."
Exactly.
Okay,
man. Oh man, I think that blew him away, and he might wind up going down a rabbit hole for the United States title again because he couldn't let it go. And I had to recommend it. I said, "You know what? Realness will be proud of you that you watched a match with his guy there."
WCW had like 3 good ladder matches, and one of them is questionable, right? Probably 2 of them are questionable, but the number one, the WCW's greatest ladder match and probably the only decent one they had was clearly Six versus Sean Six-Pac Waltman versus Eddie Guerrero for the United States at NWO sold out. But they also had that United States championship defended like a fatal 4-way with like Goldberg, Sting, Scott Hall, and somebody else. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Sid. I think it was Psycho.
Was it Sid?
I believe it was for the United States Championship. It was a weird ladder match. And then the ladder match between like 3 count. You guys remember the boy band 3 count with Hurricane Shane Helms and Hurricane Shane Helms, Shannon
Shannon Douglas. No, I mean Shannon the one that had the mohawk.
Shannon Moore, Omega guys, and and what's the other dude? The dude, his name begins with a K. I forgot, but he used to have like long braids and a backwards hat. And anyway, but
Kid Cash? No.
no, it wasn't Kid Cash. It was he was
Not
a young
Kid
dude.
Cash. It was something with Cash, wasn't it? No.
No. I just remember it began with a K. I can't remember, but he was a like a midway cruiserweight guy, but then like towards WCW's dying days, they became 3 count when they come out and they would do the little dance in the middle of the ring. But they had a really
Courageous.
Evan Courageous, yes, for goodness sakes. Evan Courageous. You're quick, Brian. They sheesh. But yes, Evan Courageous. He was, they looked like a boy band too, and they couldn't sing it. People would boo the heck out of them, but they had a ladder match on WCW that was absolutely insane as well. So that's just a quick tidbit, but that's a great way to start off our show about what did we watch this week? Because of course we have to get into the main event of our show. We're not going to waste any time. It's because we have to figure out, first of all, let's put this in perspective. This is another episode of our favorite soap opera, As the Bloodline Turns. Like
Yep.
we are here again, and this is just another episode. But yeah, so like I said, we start the show off on a positive note. We talked about what we watch, but we're gonna jump right into it. We're not gonna waste any time because Brian is trying to get to the gym tomorrow, and we're probably gonna spend a lot of time ranting about what the heck is going on and why I'm so incredibly pissed off that Triple H is stumping me left and right, and I don't remember wrestling not being this easy to kind of predict and figure out, and it's bothering me because, like I said, I used to be good at this, but now I'm starting to feel insecure. I can admit that as a man. You know what? I'm not as a wrestling fan. I'm not knowing this stuff like I used to, and I'm angry about it. So, like I said, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna continue my rant. All right, broskies, that's a wrap. Black Wrestling Fest in the books. What y'all think?
Epic.
Brother Hugh?
Legendary.
Epic. Legendary. We had fun. We in these Brooklyn streets now.
The realm is open in New York, baby.
You heard me say, right?
For right now.
For right now. You can watch all of our Wrestling Wrealm content anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Wrealm. What he said. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're doing pretty well right now. So thank you to all those who have been subscribing. Continue to subscribe. Hit the bell. Get those notifications so that you can continue to get these videos that we're about to rant about when it comes to Triple H thinking he can stump the wrestling fans because I'm quite offended. So, gentlemen, let's just jump into the latest episode once again of our favorite pro wrestling soap opera, the hottest thing in all of professional wrestling, As the Bloodline Turns. Good brothers, on this episode of As the Bloodline Turns, we have to finally address the 5th members of the OG Bloodline and the new Bloodline for Survivor Series War Games. Now, Survivor Series is very special to me. Why? Is because that was the very first wrestling tape that I ever owned, was the best of Survivor Series. My dad bought it for my birthday at Suncoast Video in White Marsh, and 2 of those things barely exist anymore. But that's neither here nor there. We have to get into this. So here we are, good brothers. Last week we had an entire show, and we talked about who's the 5th member of each Bloodline tandem for this year's Survivor Series War Games in Vancouver, Canada. And we came up with these ideas, and we came up with all these scenarios. And yes, we mentioned Seth Rollins, but I did not foreshadow or see what would happen next. Brothers, how are you feeling about the way things have shaped up? Is because we need to talk about the 5th member of the new Bloodline, Bronson Reed. What is going on? Who saw this coming? Because I know I sure as heck didn't. And why the heck are we inserting Bronson Reed into the fold of all of this stuff? What is going on? I have a few speculations, but that is why we are here to have this conversation tonight, is because we have to get to the goddamn bottom of this, because there's a lot of shenanigans going on, and I don't trust you, Sami Zayn. and I dang sure don't trust you, Triple H.
Mm.
Brothers, what is going on here? Did anybody expect for Bronson Reed to be the 5th member of the Bloodline for this year's Survivor Series War Games match?
Absolutely not.
Talk to us, brother guy.
I've never been. First off, Triple H is make you pay attention to every detail, and then you get it wrong.
Don't you hate that? I'm pissed.
Good.
You just made me mad.
And he's so good at making you think this is what you want, but then he give you something else. You're like, oh, that's what I want. And I had said it a while back. It was a couple people on the roster that, and he had to remind me of. He said, "You said he should have been joined the Bloodline." There was a couple other wrestlers, as in because he fits that mold and that look that they were going for. But I would not have expected that a Raw guy would be involved in the SmackDown storyline that wasn't last name Uso. That's the first thing. But then the second thing, I'm not convinced that it is Seth as the 5th member. And when you're ready to hear why, I'm gonna tell you why. And
that's why we're starting early. It's not just about Brian going to the gym, because I got to get some stuff off my goddamn chest.
I got a lot to get. Like I told you and he was like, "You might be on this." Because Triple H is making us rethink how we watch, and it's a reason that they're recording these shows, letting it. Of course, they know things are going to leak, but then they still swerving us. Just like last year's Survivor Series, did anybody have Randy Orton coming back and being a member of the Survivor Series team? Nobody. Yeah. It was like, oh, okay, we got Randy Orton. Okay, didn't know I wanted Randy Orton on this team, but I'll take it. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's got to be something different, and what I think it's going to be different is going to blow your mind.
Yeah, I think it's about the poppycock. Brian H.
Yes, sir.
Did you see this coming? Did you think that this was going to be a thing? Did you ever think in a million years that we would see Bronson Reed joining forces with the new Bloodline for this year's Survivor Series War Games match?
A million years, no. But when they started keeping the direction of Cody and KO like completely separate, then it was kind of like, yeah. And main reason is because of the fact that when you think about the match lineup, and then it's always quality over quantity. Bronson Reed and allegedly Seth Rollins will kind of get lost in the shuffle, because it's like, well, like last year it was Gunther and Miz. Anybody remember that? And that was just supposed to be just sort of another title defense. Another match that really got lost, which sucks, was Dragon Lee and Santos Escobar. So it's like kind of like minimizing the matches, because you're going to remember the car crashes, but then you remember the quality, so you don't want to just throw something else in there. So as we got close, I was like, I think Big Bronson gonna find his way in there.
Okay, so let's just stay here. Tell us, Brian H., how do we get to this point? I just found out that Bronson Reed's parents are of Samoan descent. I knew he was from New Zealand, right? And that's I just assumed he's from the New Zealand, that Australia region, right? That's him and Jay White both from New Zealand, but they share space. Arm. Yeah, they show. First of all, people in New Zealand have been making some waves. They've gone viral this week. They've gone viral in a lot of spaces, but I didn't see him coming. Like I've never believed in okay, well, he looks like he's supposed to be along to it, so let's just go ahead and say it. Like I never saw it that way. But how do we get to this point, Brian H.? Why was Bronson Reed the right pick? Like he had nothing to do with the situation, but yet now he's here. How do we get here, and why is Bronson Reed the right guy?
I mean, you look what he's been doing to Seth Rollins, right? He's been and just in general destroying people. The tsunamis after over again. Why not have him come after the biggest and baddest group, OG group, I should say? And if I'm Solo Sikoa, I'm trying to stack the deck, because I know what Roman is capable of. I know what my brothers are capable of. So I'm gonna go get somebody. You already think I'm dangerous because I got Jacob, and I got the Tongas, but shoot, I'm gonna go get somebody you would least expect, because and Jey Uso said it. He told shout out to Rosenberg, he said, yeah, he a Uso too when he talked about Bronson Reed. And
he knew something we didn't know.
Yeah, you know, most people like, wait, okay, that's what they call everybody. They call everybody Oos, you know, that's a term of endearment. When we say you are a Oos, that's to let you know. So it's kind of like Solo pulling that, you know, revealing that card. And it's like he, you know, you watch him, he got this boss attitude, and right now he's outsmarting everybody.
Brother guy. Now we're in a space where Bronson Reed, first of all, this is a guy that got released. He became Big Jonah, right? He goes away, he comes back, and it's just the proof is in the pudding. And I'm not going to do my normal Bill Cosby imitation impression for a lot of reasons that we don't do those things anymore. But just when you say pudding, you just put you in that space where you like the pudding. That's all you're going to get. The proof is
Fair
in
enough.
the pudding. Here is someone where it's like they always talk about creative being subjective, right? And here's somebody that didn't really have much direction, you know, during the Vince McMahon era, and then all of a sudden he comes back, and all of a sudden he's dang near main event player. Like he's knocking on that door really, really fast. And he made it clear he had a couple of matches early on, right? And they were pretty much squash matches. And he felt like it wasn't enough. He was being disrespected, and Triple H kind of condoned his behavior. He said, if you wanted to make a splash, that's how you do it, you know. And then Bronson Reed said, whatever I'm doing is not loud enough, so I got to make a statement. He took out Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins got hurt. He took out Braun Strowman, and now he's going after Roman Reigns. Is this the right thing for Bronson Reed to do to get his point across? He pretty much inserted himself into the hottest storyline this side of the Mississippi in all of professional wrestling, because his character has made it very clear. I want to be in this spot and y'all not hearing me, so I'm kicking this door down. Is this the right move for Bronson Reed? Is he the right guy for this? Does it make sense?
He's the only one that would benefit and win, lose, or draw. He's going to benefit the most from this whole roster, because at the end of the day, then what inning are we in? The bottom of the what?
Bottom of the third.
So when we move to the fourth, right? Bronson Reed can go off and do something else, but now he's in that conversation of look what he was a part of. So because he had that trajectory, he needed that one more oomph of something. So no matter what he does next, it's going to be remembered because of what he's doing now. And because he's in that, and he went straight after Roman, it's like, okay, who's this guy think he is? Oh, that's the guy that went toe to toe, that tore up the whole arena with Braun Strowman. That's the guy that's been feuding with Seth. That's the guy that was destroying things on Raw. He was didn't he throw him on top of a car and made the car explode? All these different types of things.
He's done some very violent things, and he doesn't care. He's made it clear. He threatened to beat up Santa Claus on X earlier. I don't know if you guys saw that. Brian H., I know you saw it. You commented. You said, well, god dang, that's a little petty. And I said, oof, you just threatened to beat up Chris Kringle. Like I'm
you saw what he said about Roman. You saw what he said. He said Sierra Hotel, and then he said a couple other words. So he's making splashes everywhere.
The guy, he threatened Santa Claus. I'm not. If you threaten Santa Claus, you don't care about anybody. But please continue.
So I think he was the perfect choice, because who else right now? I'm just going to say right now you could insert, because remember last year it was Damian Priest with the Judgment Day. He fit in that story because he had the biggest, not necessarily chip on his shoulder, but he had the most momentum that we didn't know post Survivor Series. Look what we were going to get. So now I'm looking at Bronson Reed the same way. Post Survivor Series, what is going to happen? And I know I'm probably the one person to say, let's just enjoy the now and not think about later. But this is going to be he might be a marquee for Saturday night's main event. If he's not in the Rumble, he could have a marquee match at the Rumble. There's so many things now that's going to make him that person that Triple H does really good at rotating the top people around. He does good at moving people in and out. So whether he goes Intercontinental title or World title, we want to see it. It's going to be something unique. Okay.
That's all fine and dandy. Now I'm about to piss you off because I want you to be as mad as I am right now, because I'm fuming. Triple H thinks he's so smart. And the crazy part is he is smart. This is a guy we grew up watching, and now he's running the show. It's cheating. Tell me why we didn't see this coming. Why the heck didn't we see this coming, Brother Brandon? We've been watching wrestling for a long time. We've been doing this for a while. We've seen everything. We have talked about this stuff for years, and it has been quite predictable. And it has never not been a moment or a time where we have not at least been somewhere in the realm, no pun intended, of what was either going to happen, what could possibly happen, and what did actually happen. Why the heck did we not see this coming? Because I don't care who you, if somebody claimed that they saw this coming before me or before anybody else actually really had an idea this might happen, please send me the footage. Because
I'm gonna tell you why.
That's an individual I need to listen to, because their level of superior wrestling intellect has got to be 1,000, because that is something I did not genuinely see coming. And I need to know why a superior wrestling intellects in this space of professional wrestling, why the heck did we not freaking see this coming?
Because he distracted us. And just like, remember I was talking about how he plants seeds? We forgot about one factor too. Who was Jimmy talking to backstage when they were trying to recruit members?
Seth?
Nope.
Who was he talking? I don't remember.
Who else?
Braun Breaker.
Okay,
they distracted us, right? Okay. We were thinking like, oh, wait a minute, why is this happening? Look, that's the person that his brother just beat for the Intercontinental title via bloodline interference, right? But also, we were so focused on what is he going to do next on Raw with his destruction, his path of destruction. We wasn't thinking that path of destruction was going to carry over to this. So that's why we didn't see it coming, because we were so worried about Hikuleo. We were worried about Lance out of Hawaii. We were worried about all these people that fit in the old style of thinking. Oh, yeah, it's going to be one of them. Because remember, I even said, let Paul Heyman take him because he's a blank canvas. We still got Hikuleo that's going to join his brothers. And we were all focused on that. Triple H distracted us so much that we didn't know that we wanted Bronson Reed as part of this new bloodline.
I feel so deceived, and I hate it. They got me.
I'm going to deceive you more. When you get to the fifth member of the other side, I'm going to deceive you more.
Okay, here we go. Brian H., it's your turn. This is hot seat. This is hot seat hold down. I don't know where I got that from. Just go.
Where did you get? Okay.
I don't know. Brian H. So brother guy said that. We piecing this together, okay? So we need your expertise in this area. My question to you, Brian H., and I need you to help. This is your chance to educate all of us that feel like we have been deceived. What else? We got this point. We got this far. This is far from over. What else are we being distracted from? What is Triple H trying to keep us away from? It's because I'm starting to see a pattern. And you correct me if I'm wrong, and you tell me what you think if you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing. Brother guy alluded to it. I'm seeing like Triple H making a whole lot of noise over there for us to look in that direction and go, oh my goodness, look at that. And while we're looking over here, there's something else going back over here. So when we turn back around, we're like, wait a minute. We thought the distraction. I saw it on Star Trek Picard the other day where they blew up a recruitment center for Starfleet, but it was just a distraction because it was a greater plot. Triple H is doing that to us as wrestling fans, and it's throwing me off. I've been doing this for a long time, Brian H. What the heck else is Triple H distracting us from?
A Paul Heyman heel turn.
Okay, first of all, that's too easy. I'm paranoid. We've seen that before. It's because we're going to get to that part. Like, trust me, we're going to discuss that too. We're going to discuss Paul Heyman. We're going to discuss Sami Zayn. We're going to discuss Seth Rollins and maybe a few other people. So please indulge us. So we're being distracted because you're expecting a Paul Heyman heel turn. And what does that factor have to do with the overall arching story? We're talking beyond Survivor Series, beyond the Rumble, and into WrestleMania. Why is it that important that we have this Paul Heyman heel turn coming up soon, which leads us to whatever is next when it comes to this whole soap opera that we love to call as the Bloodline Turns?
Well, because I think that you have Roman Reigns and the Usos and everybody going into one more big story before we get into the WrestleMania story. Because I mean, it's easy to pencil in Roman and Rock, right?
Sure.
But you got to give us something before we get there, because you got one big show and then you have a massive show coming up. That big show being Saturday night's main event. You got to bring it for that one. So that's the aftermath of the Survivor Series. And then you got, they're really doing it up I believe, priority packages and stuff
Mhm.
for Raw's January 6th debut on Netflix in the Inuit Dome. I don't know if y'all know, but the Inuit Dome got 80,000 bathrooms because Steve Ballmer, shout out to Tyler Parker from The Ringer, he wrote an article on that because Steve Ballmer don't like waiting bathroom lines. So there's literally, you will not be in the bathroom line.
Mm.
So the fact that they're going to put the first Raw on Netflix there, it looks like a spaceship.
It definitely does. That's a great way to put it. I just watched Star Trek the other night, so I'm telling you, you're on point.
Yeah, so this is going to be a big deal. This is going to be a very big deal. So yeah, I think that's now a certain person talked to a good friend of mine the other day, and he said the dead time when people get them on TV together, it's going to be crazy.
No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. I think you should reveal your sources. And guess what? I think LA Knight does too.
Like
God dang it, Brian H. We got to deal with Triple H.
It sure ain't that leather dressing wrong guy from y'all parts of Maryland. But the person he talked to was another person from Maryland. Again, brought him up earlier, Rosenberg. Rosenberg talked to CM Punk. Now, of course you think, oh, that's a WrestleMania match. Not really. Think you can run a story with him and Roman because,
CM Punk?
That was my thing that was going to shock you. Thanks, Brian, for ruining it. Because you got a Paul Heyman guy. Think about a Paul Heyman guy, right? You said a turn.
Wait a minute.
Paul Heyman isn't going to turn. He's going to get the enemy of my enemy to be my friend. Because here's the thing. Everybody's saying Seth, right? And I don't mean to take a turn, right? Seth can be in the match without being in the match. Seth doesn't have to be the fifth person. Bronson Reed can be the next one out. Seth can curve stomp his head in. CM Punk comes out. He looks at Seth. That makes that look. And you're like, wait a minute. Are we getting that match? But then you can turn and have Roman versus Seth at WrestleMania for the world title because Raw requested Roman on Netflix. It's so many things that we're forgetting. That match is what we want to see because Seth is planting seeds. The next time I'm in a ring with him, I want to stomp his head in, right? Roman still owes Seth. We keep talking about The Rock and Roman. What about Roman and Seth? That's some stuff that Rock's not available. That's just as big.
Well, honestly, I still think Seth Rollins is in the match. But if you go back to the picture before Realness,
hold on, wait a minute. Which one was it?
It was this one.
Okay, there we go. All right.
He has his number
real bad, and you can't say nothing to him.
And remember, they're dangerous,
big time. They were dangerous before.
I could see them plotting to get Seth out of the match before it even starts.
I can see that
that's
too.
How you get the fifth member. But I think I see more of a program with, because let's be real. It's 2 matches that's papered in, right? Penciled in for WrestleMania.
Is it though?
Yeah,
come on. I don't think so.
I'm
with you on this one, real. I'm with you on this one, realness.
It was last year. Now we can get the match that most of us want. Rock and Roman.
The build-up is there this time.
This is it.
Yeah.
Because when you really think about, like, at the end of the day, Rock is getting older, right?
Sure.
And I saw some numbers because I don't give a darn about the Rock's movie career that I was happy about, and that was the fact.
I don't care about his movie career either.
Yeah, because every time
the movie flopped,
it's just a reminder that they took him away from me in wrestling. And shout out to the Public Enemies podcast, the homies over there, the good brothers over there. They was like, "Oh, these numbers, Final Boss loading. He's on his way back." Right?
Listen, every time his career is on a downward swing. You know what he's gonna do? Revive the career.
That's it. And when I read that, that's what I was thinking about. You saying those exact words, right? Now you get this mega match that and then so that's one pencil there. This is enough time to get away. Seth Rollins I feel like he's gonna be a heel, but in this case, if Punk goes heel, Seth Rollins would be a great baby face because that's the match. That's the match Punk wants. That's the match Seth Rollins wants. They want to take that real life heat and they want to make money because at the end of the day, they business guys.
I have a question for you. Does one of them have to be a heel? Can they just tell the story that these guys generally hate each other because they got in the ring as both faces, and they literally said, Seth Rollins literally said, "I hate your guts still. Like we're both good guys and all. I really don't like you, and I still think this place is better off without you. And I will do everything in my power to get rid of you." And he laughed, and the fans still cheered for him. But the level of hate didn't go anywhere, and they're both faces. Does it have to be one good guy, one bad guy when it comes to CM Punk and Seth Rollins?
It
Not in
don't.
this day and age.
It don't, and they could both be heel because of, like you said, that level of hatred. You know what I mean? Because what it really is love loss, and you think back to like Corey Graves talked about. He had issues with Punk, and Punk was the first person to hold his daughter or son, one of his kids after they were born. He was on the road, and Punk was right there, and all that. And so then when he left, he felt betrayed, and you could see it in his face when Michael Cole, because he knows it's coming, and he does the thing like we got him, and then Corey Graves had that stoic look, like I don't believe we just did this. Seth Rollins showing his anger, so you could channel that because I don't think they squashed the beef. No, I'm going to choose to believe they haven't squashed the beef for the sake of the wrestling story and the wrestling business, and to put my kayfabe hat back on. So that's your other pencil match. But I think before you get there, a Raw on Netflix, a CM Punk versus Roman Reigns match. Come on now. Come on.
Okay. This is going too fast. You guys are moving too fast. Hold on. Let me just take a goddamn breather, okay? Just let me take a breather. So you guys are bringing CM Punk. This, once again, that's a wrinkle that I didn't even take into consideration. So there's two major stars that are missing right now. There's a CM Punk, and there's also, to me, a Drew McIntyre that's waiting for his next thing. And we're in this space with this bloodline, and they added one big crazy New Zealander in Bronson Reed. And
Samoa's New Zealander.
See, that's the crazy part. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't want to assume because I'm not racist, right? I was like, I'm not going to just, he's big and got tribal tattoos, because I know people from New Zealand also, they do the haka as well. They do, like if you go to like Utah games, even high schoolers, like they'll, a lot of them kids from New Zealand.
Like you don't want to touch the culture. Respect,
like
respect to the culture. Yeah.
Bingo. We don't do that. We very respectful. So, you don't want to make the assumption, but when they said it now, I'm like, if this is true, okay, because they could be lying for the sake of the story, but they like, no, his parents were of Samoan descent. They just migrated to New Zealand. I'm like, oh crap. Now it makes sense. And I figured, okay, here's the part that scared me. This is what pissed me off. He jumped in, he got into the mix, he made his point. But then he showed us that he was all in because he raised his ones up. And I was like, no. What is he doing? Why is he raising his ones up? Like, that's solidarity. You don't put the ones up unless you in solidarity. What's going on? And I'm like, this ain't good. Brandish, you sound like you like to do bloodline. Are you going to acknowledge Solo Sikoa as your new tribal chief? Okay,
we've had this conversation before. No,
okay. Well, let's talk about Roman Reigns. He looks disheveled right here. He's not doing too well. Here's another picture of your boy. Look how far he's fallen from grace. This story has really you see, look at his hair. I've never seen his hair so frizzy.
You see the hair done, so you know what that means. I just went through the rabbit hole catching my sister up with all this today.
Okay, sure. Okay, so you caught your sister up. You caught Megan up. Did she say anything about why his face looks so disheveled? Look at his hair. He's unkept at this point. It's not slick back. It's not the ponytail or the little Samoan man bun that Sim Snooker used to wear.
His Italian side showing.
No, don't do that. Don't blame it on the other side. He does not look like himself. He can't get himself together. He keeps getting beat up by baby cousin because Solo's the baby, and he keeps getting beat up by him. And now you have Bronson Reed into the mix, and he beats him up too. Everybody's beating up Roman Reigns, and he's getting back everything he got from the years of cheating that he did, that you supported because you were a Bloodline member. You supported him cheating, and he should have lost like 7 or 8 times, and all those title defenses. And that, no, it's good because I just want to make sure I'm being factual. We got to have journalistic integrity. You know, you're a journalist. so we got to make sure we're talking
Cody,
about the fact.
Ain't nobody test Cody yet.
What do you know? Cody has got his own problems because he's
probably, who knows what type of performance enhancement
I'm
vitamins he's taking.
I'm trying to figure out why you're trying to divert this to Cody Rhodes when Roman Reigns' hair has never looked this disheveled ever. He doesn't look like he's okay, Brian H. He does not look like he's okay. Look at his hair. That is a stressed out man. He
got rid of some of the grays. He tamed some of the grays, and now his hair going out. Yeah,
it's coming. It's coming back. He's got the Shawn Michaels '90s fluff out. It's supposed to be slick and laid back, but this isn't working out for him. This is a scary. This is a scary group, right? He does not look like he has a handle on the situation. So we get to this point, gentlemen, where we're trying to figure out first of all, the Usos are desperate. Anytime Jey Uso gives up the University of Yeet, he gives up all that stuff. He gives up the title. It's because this is where I need to be at. This is important. This is family. We got to get back on top because they still care. They know for a fact that united as a group, as a unit, they ran things. The money was good. And yes, Jey did it on his own, but he knows how powerful that unit was when they were running things. And they all in agreement, like our family has to get back on top. But right now we are divided, and that's causing an issue. So Jey and the Usos get jumped. The numbers game, always against the OG bloodline. Yeet. Yeah. They tell Roman to make the call. Come on, Us, make the call. Make the call. Make the call. Make the call. Roman Reigns gets back to his locker room. He pulls out his phone. He makes a phone call. The line is disconnected. Brother guy, who is Roman Reigns calling? We know who they want us to believe that it is. Let's just call a spade a freaking spade, Triple H. You're not going to get me. You want us to believe that he's trying to reach out to Paul Heyman is because, as you say, brother guy, he drops these seeds. He kept saying, I don't know how to put together plans. That's never been my job. That was what the Wiseman was for. He's not here anymore. So this is uncharacteristic for Roman. He's got to come up with his own plans. And guess what? If you can tell by his hair, Brian H., he's not good at it. That's called stress. I know stressed out hair when I see it, and that's stressed out hair. So they want us to believe he's reaching out to the wise man, Paul Heyman. I'm not sure if that's true.
He's not calling him.
Brother guy, who did Roman Reigns reach out to, and why was that line disconnected?
He's reaching out to The Rock.
Excuse me?
He's reaching out to The Rock.
Why is he reaching out to The Rock? I feel like we know the end of this game, but we don't know how we get to the end of it. And it's like we got to fill in these middle gaps, and it's throwing me off. Why is it that Roman Reigns is reaching out to The Rock?
Because we want him to reach out to the wise man, but he needs somebody to fight beside him, and he needs to make right with The Rock because remember when The Rock came back and made that gesture because he teamed with Cody. He needs to he made right with Jey. He made right with Jimmy. He made right with Sami in a roundabout way. So that's why they said make the calls because he needs to call The Rock. Because guess what? If it was Paul Heyman, he would have already been there. We're going to hold off on that ace in the hole because I think this week is going to be revealed that he tried to call the cousin to help fight the cousins. But I think that it's going to be revealed that, Paul Heyman, remember how shook we were when Roman was sitting on that couch and Paul Heyman said, and believe that, or he said, you can count that as a spoiler. Whatever he said one of the catchphrases, and we were all shocked, right?
True. That first moment, pandemic.
Yep. So Thunderdome, now, action. When it's revealed that he was actually reaching out to The Rock and not Paul Heyman, but he has Paul Heyman to save the day, that shock factor is going to be right there again. Because he needs somebody to go to war with him. He already went to war with him before against his enemies, right? And he's got to make amends with him because The Rock thinks that he's sided with the enemy. No, I got to make this call to The Rock. Yeah, it could be to Seth. That's obvious. Yeah, it could be to him, but I think it was to The Rock.
Brian H.
Mhm.
Roman looks disheveled. I want you to keep looking at his hair. I'm not letting that slide. I want you to look at how stressed out his hair looks. Okay, Brian H. Look at his
Yeah.
goddamn hair.
I've been looking.
Okay.
You're stressing him out.
As long as you're looking at it, I want you to see it. Who the heck is Roman Reigns reaching out to and why?
I mean, I just think it's Paul Heyman. I know. I think some things don't have to be overthought.
Mhm.
I think it's Paul Heyman. I think right now he needs Paul Heyman to mend some fences. And
What do you
I
mean
think,
mend some fences? Mend some fences with who?
well, to link it to what Brother Brandon was saying,
Mhm.
Paul Heyman could figure out where The Rock's head was at Bad Blood. Paul Heyman could probably convince CM Punk because he knows, Seth Rollins, because he knows that he's he can sell ice to an Eskimo. He can
Mhm.
handle those tough conversations. So I think it was Paul Heyman, but Solo stomped the phone and they never gave him a new one.
Okay. Now, here's my question to you, Brian H. Here we go. My turn. Paul Heyman was abandoned by Roman Reigns.
Yep.
He was abandoned by him. It's because post WrestleMania, Paul Heyman made it very clear when Solo showed up and he started handing out orders. He kept saying, who are these orders coming from? Because Solo never said, I'm making the decisions. He said, this is what we're doing. This is what was passed down.
Mm-hmm.
He never said, this is what we're doing because I said so, because I don't think Paul Heyman would have openly acknowledged him in that capacity, especially fresh off of a loss, because there was a very mysterious situation going on and nobody really knew what was up with Roman. And Paul Heyman spent weeks being stressed out and confused, not knowing what is going on. And they said, well, Paul Heyman, what does Roman say? He's like, I have not talked to Roman since WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Heyman was put through a table. He was beat up. He was being forced to acknowledge Solo Sikoa. And when he refused to it, they put that man through a table.
Yep.
We all know Paul Heyman's history. Would Paul Heyman even align himself with Roman Reigns again after he pretty much abandoned him? He reached out to him. He never answered. He looked for him. He looked for his instructions. He never answered. And he allowed him to be put through a table by a bunch of Tongans and then Crazy Jacob for two. Why would he realign himself with Paul Heyman? Because clearly he made the phone call and the whole service was disconnected. Brother Brandon's right. The Paul Heyman had two phones at one point in time. One was for The Rock, one was for Roman Reigns. And when he was ready to call Roman Reigns, Solo stomped on it.
Yeah.
Is Paul Heyman still the person to help Roman Reigns? Is Paul Heyman the one to bring the recruit? He's got Brock Lesnar out there. He's got CM Punk. Who knows who else he's connected to? He may have access to other relatives. Will Paul Heyman still align himself with Roman Reigns at this point? I'm curious.
He loves him, but again, that's why I said that whole thing. He would fake him out. Remember, that's how he did Lesnar. Lesnar
What
was
is that
getting
picture in the back?
water and WrestleMania.
No, the picture. Who's
WrestleMania
that laying down?
37, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, okay. And Paul Heyman is raising his hand.
Yeah, and then the other one up top is him standing after WrestleMania 38.
Okay.
So 37, 38, they probably got 39 over there somewhere.
Can never trust Triple H. Can never trust him.
Let's continue, good brothers, because we're almost done. We're getting to the bottom, brother. You're gonna make it to the gym tomorrow. These cell phones, right? Cell phones get us in trouble these days. There's a lot that you can do with cell phones that's positive and negatives. And the cell phone seems to be a key part in this story. It's because Jey Uso, make the call. You have this stressed out, disheveled Roman Reigns that tried to make the call and the line was disconnected. And he didn't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something else about cell phones that's thrown me off. We hear about Easter eggs and these snippets and tidbits. Let's talk about this situation. What was this about? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, come on, Brian H. OG Bloodline. We have a scene on I believe this was this SmackDown or Raw? You know, Triple H doesn't care after a while. He saw SmackDown.
The
Okay.
shirt.
Yeah, that's right. So the OG Bloodline pulls up in the room. They're trying to still recruit He said, "Look, man, I don't know."
Oh shoot!
Yeah. You got something, don't you? You got something, don't you? He said, "Yo, I don't know." Roman said, "Just meet him here. We're gonna figure it out." They pull into the room, and first of all, the production is a masterpiece. It's because they're in the middle of a conversation. It's in the middle of their strategizing session to have this conversation. Sami goes and says, "Look, man, since nobody wants to say nothing, I'm gonna say what it is. This is what it is, blah, blah, blah." And then you hear Solo's music, and they look. And as they look at the screen, Sami Zayn pulls out that freaking cell phone out of his pocket and he tosses it on the couch. And before you know it, they decide to leave the locker room to address Solo, the Gorillas of Destiny, and Jacob Fatu. What the heck happened? You think we didn't pay attention, Tripster? You think you're going to trick us again, Tripster? Why the heck did Sami Zayn take that phone out of his pocket and toss it on the couch? For what reason? What he got to the building, forgot to take his phone out of his bag while he's at work? He know where's he at. He knew what's going on. He knew he had to deal with the bloodline. He knew he had to go address things. He knew he had to talk to Roman Reigns, and he knew he had a chance to get into it with the new bloodline. So why would he be carrying a cell phone in his pocket? He forgot. Why did he take out that cell phone, and why did he toss it on that couch? I don't trust you, Sami Zayn. Talk to me, brothers. Somebody got to have some answers for me, because this is not making any sense. Brian H., you sound like you had an epiphany about something. You sound like something hit you in the midst of all the stuff. What are you thinking?
He tried to call Paul Heyman, but when he grabbed that phone, Remember, he's distraught. He's also.
We never saw where the phone came from.
Bingo. Go back to the other photo. He's sitting on the couch
with disheveled hair. You see his stressed out hair? I want you to keep seeing his hair, Brian H.
We know. Go to the next photo.
Acknowledge his stressed out hair.
His hair is mad. Look where he's sitting. He's sitting in the chair. He wasn't sitting on the couch before.
Well, we can't tell by the angle, is it? Is that the same thing? Is that the same? No, that's the same chair. Look at it.
No, he's sitting in a couch now.
No, he's not. Look at his arm. Look at it.
Go back to the other chair.
Go ahead. Look.
Okay, I see what you're saying. But look, that's a folded chair.
No, it's not.
Oh, that's a chair.
That's a curve. Because look at Roman's left arm where his watch is, right?
Okay, I thought the thing.
It's like a wrap. It's just a foreground based off the image, based off the camera angle, right? And it's a different color. That's brown, and behind him is the couches, and you see it right here. Once you pull out, like he has that little single chair where his arm is sitting right there, and then he has the couch behind it. So when you put the camera in front of it, production notes on the foreground, it looks like it's one flat image, but it's really a little bit of space in between.
I need to see. Now I got to see the video footage, because if Roman came in and grabbed that phone, he's not going to take that camera. He's not going to take his phone out to the ring. That's how stuff gets destroyed. Wrestlers are notorious for leaving their phones charged. You know, Jordan Grace talked about she was at a show and somebody wrote a nice letter, left a nice note in her phone that was very positive. Roman Reigns grabbed that phone. Sami Zayn purposely put the Wiseman's number, but he put a wrong number in there. We don't remember real numbers no more. So
Brian H. Okay, Brian H., why did he do it? Now you're in the hot seat. Why did he do it, Brian H.?
Because
why is Sami Zayn trying to sabotage Roman Reigns? Because that's where I'm going. Sami Zayn is trying to sabotage Roman Reigns. I'm saying it here first. Why is he trying to sabotage him?
Trusted, because he's always going to remember what happened when he turned his back on the tribal chief, when he decided to go back to Kevin Owens after Roman Reigns allowed him to be on the island of relevancy. Like, I don't think he wants anything to do with Solo, but he wants to manipulate and he wants to destroy Roman Reigns within.
I think he's terrified. I'm gonna ask brother guy, why is Sami Zayn trying to sabotage Roman Reigns?
I don't think he is.
Let me tell you what I think. If you don't think he is, let me just stay here and then we're gonna go to you. I think Sami Zayn is terrified of what was before, and he's like, bro, I refuse to go back to that. Because Seth Rollins has that same level of desperate thinking. He's like, bro, I will never stand by him ever again. Like, what he did to us for those 4 years, I don't care. Like, Seth Rollins tore his knee up trying to stop Roman Reigns. Like, he gave everything he had at WrestleMania to help Cody Rhodes. And him and Cody Rhodes aren't the best of friends. You know what I mean? They did it took all of them to put an end to his reign of terror. And I think Sami Zayn is like, I don't think Jey Uso is even thinking, I know this your cousin, but you're not thinking straight. You so wrapped up in the fact that it's family, you're not seeing the bigger picture. We cannot allow him to get back to this point by any means. Now, you say, Brother Brandon, you don't think he's trying to sabotage him. So why the heck did Sami Zayn take that phone out of his pocket and throw it on the couch in mid-sentence while the new bloodline is out in the front and they ran out there and they got into a scuffle? What's going on?
I don't think he's trying to sabotage, because what would Sami Zayn be doing right now if it wasn't for this?
I don't know.
I'll wait. Exactly. He's back in the spotlight. Sami Zayn is always, if you look at his career, whether he's a heel or face, he always thriving to be in the spotlight. He's always thriving to be up front. Remember the whole conspiracy theory thing? He kept demanding being in spots. He thrives in that spotlight. He's not going to mess up something that's putting him back in the spotlight. He's not going to, because he can't be the plucky underdog, which is his other default. So he's not going to mess that up. It's just literally, and like Brian said, I don't think we need to overthink it. He just was flipping his phone around. Or maybe he did sit the phone down and Roman grabbed the wrong phone. I really think that Roman tried to call The Rock. I don't think that we bring Paul Heyman yet.
And you think that Triple H, you the one that just said that he is trying to constantly distract us from what's really going on. And you think with the specialized production and all the rules that they have as far as wrestlers backstage, that man pulled his phone out and flipped it on the couch for no reason at all?
He put it in his pocket, didn't he? I don't think he put it on the couch. I thought he put it on his other pocket.
He literally waited until Solo and them, they were strategizing. When they heard Solo's music, the bloodline looked at the television monitor. He literally took his phone out and tossed it on the couch. And when they looked back, I
thought he put it in his other pocket.
No, he was minding his business, talking, blah 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 blah. This is what it is, Roman. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. Since nobody else wants to say it, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Nobody wants to deal with you. Based off the way things were before, people just don't trust you and they refuse to stand next to you. Solo's music hits. They all look at the monitor, literally all three of them. And literally, when they all turn, you literally see Sami take his phone out of his pocket and he tosses it and he acts like nothing happened. And you mean to tell me, with all the subtleties and all the tidbits and Easter eggs, that was for no reason? I don't trust you, Sami Zayn. I don't trust you one bit.
But see, I don't trust anybody in the bloodline, because they all have a vested interest of being in the bloodline. And that's what I'm saying. Like,
well, think about it. Jimmy and Jay are family. That's the only alibi that they can always have. So why the heck would you go back to Sami Zayn approached Jay? Bro, you're crazy. You know this dude is nuts. Why would you go back to that? And he literally said to him, he's family. Same thing with his brother. Bro, you put me through hell and I'm not with it. But guess what, though? That don't have nothing to do with me being your twin. So there's this family thing that's always going to unite them, which is say, look, don't disrespect me. It's not going to be the way it was before. But at the end of the day, this is our culture. This is family. I got your back. We brothers. We grew up together. We was kids. We family. Sami Zayn is different. Sami Zayn was pulled into that family, but Sami Zayn also approached Jay like, bro, do you know what you're doing? Did you forget what he put you through? Do you remember how bad this place was when he was running the show? And then what happened when you got put out, and when I got put out, and what we had to go through, and what everybody else went through, he can't be back on top. He said, man, Sami, you don't understand it because you're not family. I don't expect you to get it. You're not going to get certain things. And then he went back and he apologized. He said, okay, my fault. You are family. I didn't mean to treat you like that, but that's how strong the family bond is, according to their culture, is that he was willing to say, bro, it don't matter what happened before. That don't have nothing to do with our family being at the top of this industry, running things. Whether it's positive or negative, we need to be there again. So it's like I don't expect Jay and Jimmy to have ulterior motives. It's because culturally, it's bothering Roman. Roman said, I told my father I was going to fix this. He ain't had to say that. Everybody knows his father passed away. Come on now. Don't pull on people's heartstrings. You know what time it is, which means he has a reason, a strong reason. And it's the one reason that's brought us to our favorite soap opera, as the bloodline turns. Family is the reason why The Rock showed that extensive family tree, because it's family. So it's like I have a hard time thinking like, okay, well, they're gonna flip on Roman just because not the family. I see Zayn doing it. It's because he has a fear. I don't think he's doing it because he's just a bad guy. And think about it. You say, what would put Sami in a bigger spotlight? If that man prevented Roman Reigns from getting to the top of the mountain and tells the world, I did what needed to be done. I did what was best for this company. I did what was best for you, Jay. You were a star before you came back to this food and say, what happened now? If Roman Reigns is top dog, see, you know what I mean? So it's like, I just don't trust Sami Zayn. And I'm trying to figure out, and I dang sure don't trust that goddamn Triple H. Why the heck did he flip that? Everybody is talking about it. And it could mean something, it could mean nothing. But you mean to tell me that all three of those guys were the guy? Looked at that screen, and the minute they turned their heads, he flipped that cell phone out of his pocket, and the show ends with this disheveled hair looking frizzy. Look at his hair, Brian H. Do you acknowledge his hair? Frizzied hair, Roman Reigns, after getting beat up. Grabs this phone. He makes this phone call and it says, the number you have called has been disconnected and is no longer in service. Beep. And he looks disheveled and the show goes off. I've never seen Roman look this disheveled. And you can honestly sit there, brother guy, and say, no, I don't think that was nothing. He was just, it's nothing. In the Triple H era, I don't trust you, Triple H. What is good?
And that's my thing. I don't trust Triple H more than I don't trust, because all right, let's say Sami threw his phone. Let's just play devil's advocate. Was he had somebody on the phone listening? Did he have to make that statement to show somebody his loyalty? What would be his reason behind that? Was that actually Roman's phone? Was that Sami's phone? It's too many questions that's going to keep us asking, like, okay, what the heck is going on here? Because remember, the bloodline keeps a lot of secrets from each other. Remember how many backstage segments we saw? Oh, they were talking. They weren't talking. What did they have to say? Oh, let me tell this person. Let me tell it. Everybody's keeping little tidbits in their back pocket for different reasons. So this is probably something he's keeping in his back pocket for a reason. And I'm just saying it because it's gonna be revealed for, like, for instance, remember when was it Sami and Jay talking and Paul asked Jay, what did they say? Or have you talked to him or something like that? He was like, no, I haven't talked to him. And everybody was keeping little things to themselves. I don't know if he's trying to stop Roman from getting back to that dominant person, because let's say he does stop him. Then you got to deal with Roman one-on-one.
But Sami is like, he doesn't mind being a sacrificial lamb. What did you just say? He would love to be in that spotlight. Roman Reigns versus Sami again? Roman versus Sami too? I mean, he shut down Montreal. You said it. He loves to be in that spotlight. He has something to gain. You said what?
Remember, Roman said, I don't have to have a pep rally.
I mean,
they're going to Toronto.
See? This is the plot thinking. This is why it's a soap opera. We're on episode like 5. We got to keep going. But let's get ready to wrap this up. Because the title of the show is Seth Rollins Has No Choice. Let me tell you why I think Seth Rollins has no choice. Because, brother guy, you said you have a theory as to why you don't think that Seth Rollins is the 5th man. I'm curious to hear what you and Brian have to say about this. Let me tell the world why Seth Rollins has no choice. There were some key things that I paid attention to that made me go, Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins, their rivalry is just as crazy as Braun Strowman's and Seth Rollins. But Bronson Reed is doing a heck of a job right now. He is pro wrestling's next biggest monster. If he went to New Japan right now, he would main event Wrestle Kingdom today. Because they love his type of wrestling. They love every generation of Japanese wrestling. They have that monster, right? You had it in Vader, you had it in Tensai, you had it they love these foreign gaijin, if you don't find that term offensive, monsters. That's just one of the things they just love to do. That's just it's like a folklore in Japan. That's why King Kong and Godzilla will always find their place in Japan, and it'll always be revived in some way because there's this obsession with monsters. And when you have that moment in pro wrestling, he was over there. That's where he went when he first got released. He was in Japan.
Jonah,
right? Yeah, he was Big Jonah. That's why now I call him Big Adam's like, who's that? I'm like, that's Big Jonah. I call him that now. But Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed, he fought to get that last match. And Adam Pearce told Seth Rollins, have this match and be done with it. Y'all are tearing up my backstage every weekend. Sure, I love exciting TV, but it's starting to become an issue. Like, you drive me up a wall. It's getting out of hand now. Have your match and be done with it. Seth Rollins said, perfect. I want this match and then I'm finished. He's like, good, have it, bye. They had the match, he got destroyed. Seth Rollins can't go back and ask for a rematch. There's no other way. First of all, Seth Rollins don't take nothing like this. He never backs down from anybody. He's not going to take this line down. And last time we saw Seth Rollins was in a ring laying down. You feel me? He can't get his hands on Bronson Reed without being in this match. Yep. Bronson Reed has aligned himself with this new bloodline, and Seth Rollins has unfinished business with this cat. And the only way he can get his hit back is if he is the fifth member and once again fight side by side in a crazy plot twist with freaking Roman Reigns since the first time since they been in the goddamn Shield. Now, somebody tell me otherwise. Why don't you think Seth Rollins is the fifth man, brother guy?
Because it's too obvious. Triple H keeps doing this where we think we got it figured out, and it doesn't pan out that way. Seth is sticking to his gut. Like, yeah, we had that.
Brother guy, you got to pick a side because you're playing both. You just told me.
No, I'm saying no. I'm saying
some stuff is not that complicated. Like we talk about Paul Heyman, right? You said, well, you know, it maybe doesn't have to be that complicated, right? But now you're saying, it's too easy because last week we talked about one of the relatives, and I felt like
that was obvious.
Easy. Yeah,
because that was obvious.
So go ahead.
And maybe this is a distraction. Maybe this is a distraction for one of the relatives, but I think picking Seth is too easy because how many times in wrestling have we seen, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that, then magically, will they, won't they, play out? So I think that this is too easy because we can talk all day about things being penciled in for Mania, right? We can talk about how they have the fan packets. We're going to be there as fans regardless of who wrestles, right? Because we wanted Rock and Roman since Young Rock. When they said acknowledge me, that whole thing, we fantasy booked that 746 different ways, right? And then when it was time to get it, the world said, no, we want Cody. So we can go ahead and pencil in another thing, but if the world says something different because Triple H gave us a different thought, that's the way we're going to go. And I'm just saying the way that they've been doing it, and I keep saying it, Seth and Roman has too much unfinished business that we can always come back to in a major way, right? Seth doesn't have to be the fifth member to get back at Bronson Reed. He doesn't. He can still say no because he still can say no. When he opened that cage, a fight could break out, and guess what? Bronson is taken out. But guess what? In comes the fifth member, the other member, Hikuleo. You know, we could always have something else. He could literally be in the War Games match, and before he gets in, Seth Rollins hit him with the cage, curb storms him, and takes him out, so he never even makes it into the match. We don't know what could happen because that could remember the whole CM Punk and Drew story that lasted so long because they kept adding layers that we didn't expect. It kept being things that we're like, oh, they're gonna wind up killing each other.
Well, what's to stop them from doing that now? It's because now there's a motive. Before, if you would have said Seth Rollins be a part of the fifth member, I said no, there's no point. I'm with you, Seth Rollins. Why would you even get involved in this? But now,
because Seth is showing that dangerous side, he don't have to be in the ring or in the match. He can get you beforehand.
He can't do that anymore because last week he told Adam Pearce, I am done. He said, you have to be done with this. He said, you cannot do. They highlighted it. They said, you can't do this anymore. Have your match and be done with it. He just can't decide. I'm Seth Rollins. I'm walking on wild side. I'm gonna do it anyway. Like
he said that on Raw. He said that on Raw.
True.
We on the SmackDown story. Look, Nick Aldis runs a different ship. I'm just saying.
That's true. Though.
I'm just like that's a whole different side of the spectrum, and you know, this could be something that we got to think about. All right, the obvious answer is Seth, and I could be wrong. Next week on a preview show, I could be saying, "Yep, guys, I was wrong again. It was Seth." I just feel like that's too safe. Triple H has, if one thing Triple H has taught me about his booking, don't play it safe. Go left field. Go somewhere different, because when we go somewhere different, it's like, oh, that was more reward. Oh, I wanted this. So that's why I'm going that way. I don't think that it's Seth. I think that Seth does have a choice. We still got 2 more. We got this Friday, Monday, and Friday for Seth to destroy some stuff or figure out a way to destroy something or get his hands on it without being a 5th member.
Listen, you're not wrong. It's because we had that before when with Bobby Lashley, when he kind of became an ECW champion. He wasn't advertised for this December to dismember, but yet, halfway through the match, I forgot. I think it might have been, I don't know who he beat up, because it might have been Morrison, but he just attacked somebody backstage and took their spot and jumped in the match. He ended up winning. And I was like, who the heck saw Bobby Lashley become an ECW champion? Because I sure as heck didn't. So it's not like it's uncommon. But Brian H, does Seth Rollins have to be the 5th member now? Does he join the Bloodline? I say he has no choice. Brother Brandon says no, he thinks it's too obvious. There's a swerve coming. What do you say? Is Seth Rollins the 5th man? Does he have to be the 5th man, a part of the OG Bloodline? Your Bloodline, because they're getting the crap kicked out of him. And if you want me to put the picture up again, Roman's hair is disheveled, and that's a sign of stress. And he can't get himself.
You put it up because I can't remember how he looked.
No,
how did Roman look?
Yeah, put the camera on me.
No, it's okay. There it is.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
You see his hair?
What's wrong with his hair?
Seen him that way. He's disheveled, Brian H.
Okay, no man bun. No man bun at all.
That's a stressed out Roman. I've never seen his hair unkept like that. That's a man that's stressed out. But what does Seth Rollins have to be the 5th man, Brian H?
Well, yeah, he has to, for the reason you said. It's the only way. But like I said, I said it earlier. I think he will be selected as the 5th man. I think that's in his head. That's how he's going to get the Bronson Reed. But I just think Bronson is really going to take him out beforehand. I think the Bloodline is going to take him out beforehand.
Is that the swerve? Is that the swerve? Because think about it. And this is it help. I'm trying to get involved in your point, Brian H. I'm not changing the subject. I promise. I'm jumping into your point, and I'm gonna try to see if I can turn the heat up a little bit. And this is a little bit mixed with Brother Brandon as well. I can see that happening too, because Seth Rollins, Triple H has proven that you don't have to have a match to have an impact. You know what I mean? Like we saw it with Kevin Owens and Randy Orton at Crown Jewel. They didn't officially have a match. Now, if you were sitting there live, you didn't hear the commentary, you couldn't tell that they didn't have a match because they had a match. But according to the home artists, they said this match never got started. You know what I mean? And it became more of a moment. I can see Seth Rollins getting beat up and not being at match, and they start the match with 4. And then a 5th member has to come. And even if it doesn't have to come, Seth Rollins can still show up, like you said, Brother Brandon, and do what he wants to do anyway at War Games. So talk to me, Brian H. You said you think they're going to take him out beforehand. So if he's not the 5th man, then who the heck is? God dang, Triple H got me all razzled. Just pissed me off. So there y'all go to see him. There y'all go to see him put the stuff again. So okay, hold on. Let me meet you halfway. So you're saying this is a scenario. Paul Heyman comes through. He has. See, I don't like the way this is going to go. You know what? I don't like this because I'm gonna tell you this. This is going to throw everything off. Is because if Paul Heyman comes back and goes, "My name is Paul Heyman, and they needed the 5th member, so I called a friend." CM Punk shows up, right? CM Punk shows up, joins Roman. It's going to piss Seth Rollins off even more. He's gonna if you thought he hated CM Punk before, he's going to hate him even that. Like, first of all, I hated you already. I hate your guts. Let me make that very clear. But then you tag with somebody whose guts I hate even more. So now I double hate your guts. CM Punk has a moment.
Double hate you, double dog there.
Yeah, like I double dog hate your guts now. Like if you thought I hated you before, the level of hate I have for you now is through the roof. So
remember, and Roman can't touch Punk. That was his promise to Heyman.
Dang it, he did say that. So he comes in, but what Seth? I don't like this because Seth Rollins.
And that's why I'm saying he's going to be. So here's the crazy part. If let's go with all our scenarios at once. Bronson Reed and Seth can't keep their hands off each other and they are destroying each other, right? The match is going on, but Seth officially doesn't get in the match. Paul Heyman comes back and announces that he has a 5th member for his tribal chief. And the music hits. There's CM Punk. Roman looks surprised. Jimmy and Jay are like, what in the world? and then you got Sami like, oh wow, that's what I was trying to do. He's here.
You keep talking about Sami Zayn. God dang it, brother guy. I don't trust Sami
And
Zayn.
Sami's the only one that's excited to see CM Punk.
No.
Because it wasn't he the one that said, oh, I think I know somebody.
He was talking about Seth Rollins.
Was he?
Yeah, well that's you're right. We don't know, but that's what he alluded to. That's what they gave us. He said, I know somebody. And then the next thing you saw was him trying to plead with Seth Rollins. He said, Sami, I appreciate you, bro. We go way back. I got you. I will stand by you. I will stand by you. I will stand by Jay. I'm dang sure not standing next to Roman. That's dead. Like he was like, all right. And that's when he came back and said, look, when I tried, and that's when Jimmy said, man, he don't got nobody. He ain't get nobody. You know how Jimmy be. Big Jim, like, man,
right. And he's still gonna be thinking, like, okay, I got one more. Because Sami, and correct me if I'm wrong, Sami and Punk haven't crossed paths any way, shape, or form, right?
Sami and Punk? No. I think they're like a generation apart as far as wrestling anyway.
Right. But I'm saying in this run or the other run, because he was in NXT, though he had just came when Punk left, right?
Yeah, like he was dang that. Because like I said, the Punk was there at NXT when Seth Rollins and them were just coming up. Like they weren't even
right. He was WWE champion, NXT champion. Yeah. Okay. So a Paul Heyman guy helps another Paul Heyman guy that he already said he wouldn't lay hands on him.
Why are you guys not convinced it's not Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar versus Bronson Reed?
I think he's done.
Yeah. And we didn't get him in Mania, and they even
what do you mean you think
kept
he's
it quiet.
Done with
he's
WWE.
Probably never coming to.
I think
he'll be in UFC first.
What makes you think that?
He was
because we would have had him on.
You say he what?
He was named in a lawsuit and on the documentary. I think you keep a distance from Brock right now.
Okay, so you think for legal reasons you don't even touch that?
Yep.
Okay. What if you find the Paul Heyman guy? What if they don't mind going with it because they know he's innocent? Like it may not have been made public to the world, but it's been proven. Like, okay, Brock Lesnar had nothing to do, but it's going to come out at a later date. Like Brock Lesnar has been cleared of any wrongdoing in the situation, but we don't know that.
I don't think Triple H want that heat. I don't think he would want that on.
If it was
everything that's going.
Yeah, if it was wrestling, maybe, but I think because it's the TKO group running things. Nope.
Okay. All right. Now we all hear. I don't know how Brock Lesnar's music goes. That was a terrible sound. But
I thought you was clear though. That was interesting. Okay.
I was trying to make that noise that his music makes when it first comes on. Okay. So you guys, I wasn't expecting to get on this show and talk about a fifth member, and you brothers to sit there and both agree and say, I think it's going to be CM Punk. Because look at Seth Rollins' face right here. If that's the face he's going to make if he hears CM Punk's music. Mind you, we've already got a PLE where The Rock came out for 2 seconds that day and blew the roof off the place, and all he did was make a gesture and tell this little neck thing. The same thing that Tama Tonga did. Tama Tonga did the same gesture in the camera not too long ago as well. After they beat a Roman, he did the little, and I was like, see, there we go. We dropping seeds. Not to mention, the fan video when he's like, don't worry, it's all about. As soon as The Rock's music hit, they all got out of Dodge. They were nowhere near the ring. The Rock didn't even come to the ring. They just got out of there. And they said, it's okay. It's all a part of the plan. Like I'm seeing some things kind of transpire. And I feel like this the only way it can end is at like WrestleMania between The Rock and Roman. But I don't know how the bloodline stands 10 toes down when they're outnumbered. Unless they leave room to introduce a fresh member, and Jey Uso probably will end up going back to being Jey Uso. And once this is kind of all said and done, and Roman will have Jimmy, and he'll have probably a new cousin. I'm assuming Hikuleo. This is just an assumption, you know what I mean, and that'll be his, his bloodline, you know what I mean. But then, like I say, we don't know what happens to Solo and Jacob and the Gorillas of Destiny. I'm so confused. I can't take this. This is too much. I'm pissed. I used to be able to do this a long time ago, but things have changed, and they're just not what it used to be. But one thing hasn't changed is that please follow us on all our social media platforms at Wrestling Wrealm. Subscribe to our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at the Wrestling Wrealm. Brothers,
we on Blue Sky.
And Blue Sky, that's right. And Brian, let's go ahead and make the announcement. Tell the people where we are now. What have we done recently? Brian is our social media manager. In case you guys didn't know, as if you didn't know.
since there's been a migration to the place where the skies are blue, we are over there. So make sure y'all check us out over there as well. We still on X, you know. Everything's going back and forth, you know, but we still here. Plus, it's little business investment over at X. So, but we are where the people at for all those. But you won't be getting a long dissertation and a resignation letter from X from us. We're still here. We're still there. We're still everywhere.
All right. Well, you guys heard it there. Once again, follow us on X, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Blue Sky, as well as Threads. Also follow Championship Culture at Championship Culture _ on Instagram. We got to wrap this up. We're going to get out of here. Thank you for joining us on this latest edition of our favorite pro wrestling soap opera, known as The Bloodline Turns. Join us next week as we dig deeper into the actual premium live event of Survivor Series War Games in Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, we're out of here. You guys be safe. Stay just stay as calm as you possibly can, like I'm trying to do. Just stick with this. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to figure these things out. We're having a blast doing it. You all be safe. We will see you next week. We are out of here. Peace.
Houston, we have a problem.
For all exclusive shows and bonus material, subscribe to our Patreon channel at patreon.com/thewrestling_realm. You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/thewrestling realm.